Okay, so before you start processing any fish in the field, the first thing you want to make sure is that all the tools you're going to use are sterile. So we use 70% ethanol or isopropyl alcohol to sterilize tools. So these wipes that you may have in the field, these are your alcohol swab wipes, and they're one of the best things you can use to sterilize tools. So we can go through each of the main tools we'll be using and just go to your actual cutting surface. Wipe them down thoroughly and make sure that you're firmly mechanically wiping the surface to remove any DNA that will accumulate on the surface. So once you've done one, throw that in your biohazard garbage and then leave your tool with the blades open to dry. And we can do that for each different tool. Okay, so you want to give your tools about a minute or two to dry before you start processing with them. So if you've got a lot of fish that you're doing at once, it's best to have multiple sets of tools so you can cycle them out, so you always have clean and sterile tools ready to go. You can also sterilize with liquid 70% ethanol, but if you do that, you've got to either swish them in a container with 70% ethanol to basically mechanically shake off all the DNA that's on your blade, or after you soak it in the 70% solution, you've got to wipe it down with a sterile wipe or paper towel. Basically, as long as you're sterilizing with ethanol and physically wiping off your DNA, that's how you know your tools will be sterile. And that's your sterilization step. So now you've got your actual fish you've taken out of the bag, it's come from the net, and you've assigned it a bag number. So we're now working with fish number 955. You've taken all the tubes and sample bags out of that bag, and so every one of these bags has a number and barcode that associates it with this number. So everything about this fish is fish number 955, excuse me. So the very first thing you want to do with your fish is take a picture. So you want to associate this bag number with your fish. So you lay it out, make sure these bars are in frame and you take a picture, because that's how you get your scale for your fish. So your fish is out, take a picture like that, take a look at the preview of the picture, make sure it worked out and you have good resolution. Then we're done our picture step, so we can remove the bag and then we can move on to the measuring. So you'll put it up against the very front of your measuring apparatus, whether it's a fish board or a ruler, and then you'll take your probe, which has also been sterilized, as you would have done with the other tools in the previous step. So take your probe, put it inside the fork until it stops, lift up the tail, and then check your measurements. So we're at 28 centimeters, which we would record as 280 millimeters in our field notes, and we'll take a look at the field notes in just a second. But just so you know, every time you record one of these, someone is recording them on both your master notes and your secondary set of field notes. So we've got our fork length. The next thing we want to do is weigh it. So when you want to weigh your fish, you have a scale somewhere on site. So we can push up edge on the scale. And the main thing about this is make sure no part of your fish is hanging onto another part of the scale, because that's going to screw up your weight measurement. So one thing you could do is take cutting boards or any flat surface you have, stack them on top of your scale to raise the height of the fish. That way parts of it might not be hanging on the scale. And then once your whole fish is suspended on top of your plate, you take your weight reading, you call it out to someone who's recording the weight notes, and that's weighing. So the first tissue we're going to take is actually our slime. So find your slime tube, sterile scraper, scrape the fish above the lateral line, all the way down until you get some good slime on your blade. Scrape it off for a while. Do that until you get as much slime as you can. Close your slime tube. Once the sample is done, go in the sample bag. Next sample is your fin clip. Find your fin here. Take the whole fin, into the bag maybe fit. Close the bag, put it in your sample bag. Okay, then we can try and get our otoliths. So turn the fish around, grab your fillet knife, find the spot where the coloring on the back of the fish meets the dark, solid coloring of the head, so right above here, above the gills, but still so you're on the head plate. Start cutting in. You may have to saw a bit, so until you feel the skull break, and you want to be right to the top of the eyeball. So you don't want to go down any lower than that, because then you're going to cut past your otoliths and you can lose them. So once you get there and you feel it and you've broken through the skull, tilt the blade and shave off the top of the head. So we're open. Now you want a fine tip pair of tweezers for this next part. So here's our brain. You can either remove the brain or you can seek past it. You should be able to find your otoliths down in the cavities on either side of the back of the brain, but sometimes it can be a pain. So if you can't find one, try moving on to the next one. There's our right otolith. So once you find an otolith, take it down your hand. Remember which side it was, whether it was the left or the right. And try to just break it out. If it's in a fluid sac, you want to just move it around your hand to try to get the fluid sac off and dry any goop or fluid off it. Take that, find your right otolith tube. Put it up. Now your otolith tubes will stay open and they'll actually just dry overnight, and so you'll put them in the bag later on, so don't worry about that for now. If you actually can't find the other otolith, as I've done now, search a little bit for it, but if you're not able to find it, then you just mark that on the sheet. So on our data sheet we'll write a left otolith not found. So the other thing we need to do before we start cutting into the main part of our fish is check for gill lice. So just go to the gill, take a good look inside. If you don't see anything, lift up the first gill arch. And actually we do have a lice here. So you're looking for these things. There's sort of a little white ball with two little legs hanging off it. That may be difficult to see, but they're sort of, they look like a little man almost. So if you find any lice, find your tube labeled lice, put them in, put that in your sample bag. Okay, once you've got your otoliths and you've checked for lice, you can open up your fish, take the fillet knife, start at the anal vent, push in. Now the most important thing here is to keep the tip of your blade up towards the skin, so you're not cutting into your internal organs too much. The chest plate's going to be the hardest part, and I want to cut all the way to the throat. So I've cut into the organs a little bit, but I'm trying to get past them without damaging too much. So once it's open, the first thing you want to do is look for parasites. So not seeing any parasites, you're looking for worms or cysts that may be on the stomach. So this fish looks pretty clean. So we've got a few cysts on the stomach. So if you look at the stomach, that's where you're going to find a lot of your parasites, although they can be anywhere. But stomach is a hot spot for them. So you'll see a lot of little bumps on the stomach. These are worm cysts. So these are where worms have laid their eggs. So you're going to find your parasite tube. This is a lice tube, but that's another kind of parasite. But as long as you have a parasite tube and it's properly labeled, grab yourself some sterile tweezers and go and pick yourself off some of these cysts. They can be hard to remove sometimes, especially without breaking them. As long as you get a couple of them, if they're easy to get, try to get 3 or 4 of them. Otherwise, if they're giving you a hard time, a couple should do the trick. And there we go. You can put your parasite tubes away in your sample bag. So the first thing we can take is the liver. So if you go right up to the throat, grab the liver by the very top, and if you pinch it, it should pull down fairly easily, and there you have your liver. And you can just find your bag labeled liver, and that can go in your sample bag with the rest of it. Next is the intestine. Find the bottom of the stomach. So this is the stomach here. At the bottom, these stringy bits, this is the top of your intestine. So you want to find where it separates from the stomach, and sort of peel it off. And then you're going to find this point where it joins. That's where you want to break it off. So pinch with your fingers, pull, should break off. With larger fish, it's going to be harder. You're going to have to apply a fair bit of pressure. And then rip the intestine down and get a good grip with your bottom fingers to rip the whole intestine, and then put that in the bag labeled intestines and put it in your sample bag. Okay, last thing you want to do here is check the sex of your fish. Now, this fish is pretty small, so you may not be able to tell the sex if your fish is very small. This looks like either undifferentiated, or you can just put unknown if you're not sure. So the last thing we're going to do is take a muscle sample. Before you do that, take your fish back over to the scale, weigh it one last time, and then we're going to call out the eviscerated weight. And then your person taking notes is going to write that down. So once you've taken your eviscerated weight of your fish, you can go in with your fillet knife again, go to the same place you took the slime sample, go as far forward as you can above the lateral line, just on the back so you just touch the spine, and then cut down from the spine, just down to the lateral line. And then on a fish this size, you want to go about that far down, so you want about 3 fingers width of muscle. Same thing, cut to the spine, cut all the way down to the lateral line, and then just cut it out from there. And you should be able to cut it off from the bottom fairly easily without getting too much bone. And then put that bag labeled muscle. Everything, any samples you haven't put in yet, put them in your sample bag. And take the whole thing, put it in the freezer, and that fish is done. And make sure that your data card that has all your information about that fish recorded on it goes in with the bag before you freeze it.